Get your business launched with Space Coast Daily through spacecoastdaily.com, Space Coast Daily social media, in print with Space Coast Daily newspaper and the magazine, as well as email blasts and the mobile app, and also at Space Coast Daily events. You can reach new customers every day. Get launched with Space Coast Daily and take your business to new heights. Call 321-323-4460 today. Good morning, everyone, from the Space Coast Daily and Friday Night Locker Room TV studios here in beautiful Mare Island, Florida. It's an interesting time in this country, a challenging time, and we're here today to talk to one of the leading attorney firms in the country, David Volk. We like to think that we have the experts here on Space Coast Daily talking about the various topics, and we wanted to have one in today to talk about what this whole situation, this whole crisis means to business owners who maybe have questions and are unsure about how to move forward in the right direction vis-a-vis the COVID virus. David Volk, welcome to Space Coast Daily.
Thanks for having me, Giles. Nice being here.
How have you been?
Very good. Very anxious, of course, like every business owner in America.
Right.
But we're still signing up clients. We're still functional. We're having hearings. More often than not, they're on the telephone or via video conference, but we are adapting.
What's your overall take on the situation of the country now? Obviously, I'm an immigrant myself. I understand you're a second or third generation immigrant yourself as well. We came up in a tough manner, right? We had to work extremely hard to get where we are today. What's your take on the situation in Brevard County and the situation in the country at this moment?
We're going to survive this and come out of it as a much better country. That's the story of America. Throughout my entire lifetime, we've seen one problem after another. We survive them, we endure. For goodness sakes, we survived Jimmy Carter. We survived the Vietnam War protest. We survived race riots in the early 70s. We survived, like I say, Jimmy Carter. During Gerald Ford presidency, people were wearing WIN buttons, W-I-N, whip inflation now. At some point, the interest rates got so high that people would wait 24 hours in line to get bond money to buy a mortgage at 10% interest, because that was a great deal. I just refinanced my mortgage at 2.5%. These are, in some ways, healing good times for America. It's causing, I think, every person in business to evaluate how they live their life and find out, how can I optimize my life? Restaurants are restricted. Bars are restricted. It is causing a lot of people to rethink the way they live their daily life. Think about Ronald Reagan and Paul Volcker. Inflation was terrible. They broke the back of inflation, but it caused economic times to be tougher for 2 years. And then we erupted into a massively successful recovery under Ronald Reagan. 80s, AIDS came along. And we thought, this is going to devastate the population. When was the last time you saw a cover story about AIDS? What did America do? Our pharmaceutical industry responded. It took a long time, but they found out how to create a drug cocktail that prevents you from going from HIV to AIDS. And now, apparently, from the commercials, there's drugs you can take that keep you from contracting HIV. This is the beauty of America. The resilience of our capitalist system is that we solve problems. That's what America does. We don't need socialist solutions from AOC or Bernie Sanders. That ruins societies. America's resilient. I just saw on CNBC this morning before coming here, Moderna's stock has gone up 346% this year, and they are showing good results in their vaccine study. And they're not the only one. Gilead, I think, is also doing well. We should have the vaccines rolling out by the end of the year. We opened too fast. We had too much travel to Florida and southern states, I think. One of the CDC people just said yesterday, I believe, that too much vacationing occurred and northeastern people brought COVID with them. Okay. Did we open too fast, or did we have too much travel and vacation, people coming from different parts of the country? We are adapting. People are being more careful, and we're going to get through this. The race relations problem is as bad as I've ever seen it in my lifetime. I think it is creating awareness and sensitivity. We'll come out of this for the better. We're not going to come out of this with a Marxist, socialist country. The silent majority is angry now. They are sensitive to COVID, sensitive to better race relationships, better policing. Cops are overwhelmingly wonderful people who do a dangerous job. They're being demonized by a small sector of our society. The silent majority doesn't see them that way. You see what happens in these cities where they pull back the police. Crime skyrockets. The silent majority understands this and wants to do something about it. We want to adapt our country to make it better. We're going to.
Mm-hmm. Amazing times, really interesting opining there from David Volk of Volk Law, a passionate business person in Brevard County, helps a lot of people manage their business. And of course, we want to talk today specifically about how we can manage the COVID crisis. And we're going to get into some of those questions. If you have a particular question for Mr. Volk, you can put it there in the comment section on our Facebook page and we'll try to get it answered for you. These are amazing times. And the message is stay strong. This too shall pass, right?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. First of all, let's talk about Brevard County. Middle of February, we learned about the situation and we sort of went into crisis mode. But prior to that, this county was absolutely on fire. Construction was booming, businesses were booming, tourism was booming, and now here we are later on. Let's talk about construction industry first of all. I still see buildings going on just down the corner here where we live. There's a Starbucks going in. What are some of the issues facing contractors as they build buildings, as they build homes? What are some of the things that are facing them that you've seen in the industry so far?
What do you need to build a house? You need permitting, you need plans, you need materials, you need people to build the house, for instance. And there are dislocations happening across that spectrum. We're actually seeing a slowdown in housing supply. The sale of houses in Brevard County is going great. The problem is there's not enough inventory. We live in, frankly, a booming community. Our aerospace sector is just amazing, and I include space in that, is booming. Anybody that wants to be in a good county should be in Brevard County if you believe in the private sector and what it can accomplish. Look what SpaceX is doing versus government building of rockets. The efficiency, the price reductions. So construction, getting back to construction, dislocation at each stage of the construction process. Trouble getting materials, trouble getting people to assemble the materials into a finished product. Subcontractors having problems just like the contractor in those areas. So, as much as anything else, we have a supply problem. It's not that our builders are building houses they can't sell. They can't build houses fast enough to sell. And again, this interest rate thing is stunning. Like I told you, I refinanced my mortgage on my house at 2.5% interest.
Amazing.
I'm flabbergasted at that. And the rates keep ticking down. We're going to come out of this just fine because there's pent-up demand. Mm-hmm. There's pent-up demand. Prices are increasing. I think the Brevard County realtors have showed that we had a 4.6% year-over-year increase in the median sale price of houses. Mm-hmm. Staggering, which is kind of cool. If that is applicable to all houses, if you own a house worth $100,000, it just became $4,600 more valuable over the course of the last year.
Let's talk about if you specifically, let's say you're building a custom home and the general contractor is having some supply chain issues. You've got a contract for them to build it in 6 months and they're 3 months behind due to COVID. What are the ramifications under the law now, and what are the solutions for a situation like that?
There are legal doctrines that affect you when you are having trouble performing a contract. If someone signs a contract to build a house and the contractor is having trouble getting the house completed, the contractor can raise, assuming that clause is in the contract, the force majeure clause. A force majeure says that in certain act of God events, performance is excused so long as that interrupting event is going on. So if we have a hurricane and it slows you down by 2 or 3 weeks in getting the house finished, your customer is going to have a hard time suing you for delay damage. Most contracts have not included provisions for virological or bacteriological events, and so there's a question, is that an act of God? A good lawyer will help you to fix your contract language. I just did it in our contract boilerplate as a result of the pandemic to include those as specific force majeure, act of God events, along with war, insurrection, natural disaster. So this is again part of the adaptation of confronting a problem and emerging from it better. Here's my philosophy on contracts or going into any deal, and it applies to construction contracts as well as every other contract. Make your contract taking into consideration what could go wrong. I do that. We do primarily lawsuits, commercial lawsuits of Volk law offices, and best way to approach the case is what can go wrong? What am I forgetting? What am I not thinking of? If this case is already underway and it's not going the way I like it, I've got to study on that, think on that. What am I doing wrong? What's going to be the outcome if I don't change the course?
Interesting, I was talking to one of the contractors out who's building the Starbucks down here, and he was mentioning that some of his employees actually had the COVID. Does the employer in a contracting situation have to pay their employees disability if they're out due to COVID?
Yes, there is federal legislation that says that you have to do some paid overtime. It's very complex analysis, but this is why you need good legal counsel, unless you're really good at doing your own legal research, to figure out, what do I do? This employee has reported to me that I have COVID. There was a case just filed in Fort Lauderdale at the beginning of July where an employee reported that he was feeling ill with what seemed to be symptoms of COVID. He actually did have it. And the employer told him, don't tell anybody. Don't tell any other employees. Don't tell our customers. Wow. And it was a 55 and up community of customers. And so now he did eventually go on leave. They didn't pay him the federally mandated leave, so he's suing for that, which is part of this pandemic response. It's an acronym, kind of a word salad like all federal laws these days, but there are some leave rights with pay for a short duration. They didn't pay him that, and as soon as he came back to work, they fired him.
Unbelievable.
So he's now sued them for violating the federal law and for retaliation for exercising a legally protected right. Now, before we roll on to that, here's the Pandora's box that those situations are opening up. And by the way, we added, as soon as I saw this was going to be a problem, we added 6 pages of information on coronavirus to our website to give people general knowledge, volklawoffices.com, 6 pages in different areas of the law, including construction, including employers' rights, contracts in general. I've got a section in there on disaster planning. We're coming into hurricane season, so your disaster planning for COVID and adaptation should also guide you in getting ready for this season's hurricane season. The problems are endless. Now, when they told that guy, don't tell anybody, they were being negligent because their customers could contract COVID and sue for negligence. If you owned a piece of property and you had an open manhole on it, do you get to just leave it?
Not tell anyone.
And not tell anybody?
Right,
Somebody falls through the manhole, they're going to sue you for negligence.
Common sense, sure. We're here with David Volk, the volklawoffices.com. If you have particular questions, you can always reach out to the folks at Volk Law Offices. They'll be happy to give you a consultation and kind of help you get prepared as you maybe return back to the workplace. Working from home. So many businesses are having their folks work from home. Lots of ramifications there, right? As far as, obviously the workplace issues, privacy issues, intellectual property issues. What are some of the things that you're seeing in the industry now as far as legal ramifications from folks working from home?
Well, I think the legal industry is adapting very well. We're doing video conferencing. We just had a Brevard County Bar seminar on video conference hearings, and I'm actually making a presentation in August on introducing evidence via video conference. So I think our industry and every other industry is adapting quite well to identify the problem and come up with the solutions. And as for working at home, there is a plethora of guidance on the internet about how you work from home, because you have to treat it as if you're working in an office. And so you have to have setups. We set up workstations at home for a few of our lawyers so they could work part or, if necessary, all their time at home. Video conferencing equipment, computer setups. It's what's the problem and what do I do about it? You want to succeed in business, you're always trying to identify your risks and manage them.
Manage the risks and be properly prepared. We're going to take a quick break. We're with David Volk of the Volk Law Offices. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with some more details on how you can be best prepared as we get back to work with COVID.
Welcome to Volk Law Offices. I'm David Volk. I appreciate you visiting our website. We're here to help you in money, property, and business matters. That's all we do. I've been doing this type of work for 25 years. That experience enables you to see the red flags, the problems that can arise, or to manage the problems after they've already blown up. We can help you manage your legal risks so you can stay focused on running your business, taking care of your family. Volk Law Offices, we're here to help.
Welcome back to Space Ghost Daily. We're here with David Volk of the Volk Law Offices, one of the leading law firms here in Brevard County. All sorts of assistance they provide to businesses, from contractors to hospitality industry to the legal profession. It's really a super service there. So if you have questions, go to volklawoffices.com. They have a whole section on the COVID virus. David, when should employees reopen and how can they do it safely? I mean, you know, we have friends out at the port with a restaurant, okay, Fish Lips. They were open, they were doing great, and then one of their employees, you know, had the COVID situation, so they absolutely closed down for 2 weeks so they could go in and do a real thorough cleaning and a thorough preparation for getting reopened. That's a pretty socially responsible way of running a business, isn't it?
Very much so, and it intrudes on the area of negligence law. If someone comes to your place of business, or if you're a landlord and someone gets injured there, if they can trace it to a breach of duty of care that you owed them, they could sue you for a negligence claim. So anybody that operates a business, again, it's risk management. You want to have insurance. You want to have the right kind of insurance. You want to read your policy when you get it, because as we talked before, insurance policies are hilarious to me. You get 2 pages which say you're covered for everything, and then 48 pages that say except for this. So you need to know what you're buying insurance for. Does it cover you for all eventualities, including someone being injured on your premises? They're going to have a hard time proving that they got COVID if they came to your business, that they got the COVID at your place of business. I am not smart enough to figure out how you prove where it was contracted. Still, a conscientious business operator or landlord will take reasonable steps to reduce risk. My office is in the One Harbor Place building at US 1 and 192, and they put up hand sanitizer dispensers where you get onto the elevators. Simple activity taken to reduce risk and very beneficial. Bear in mind, good safety practices will also encourage your customers to respect you. We're doing certain things to make our office more safe, even beyond what we did up to this point. Plastic shields, plexiglass, are becoming more common, and people don't think twice when they walk into a business and see a plexiglass shield between you and the person that greets you as you walk in.
Do you find that many of your clients, you know, have you review their insurance coverages, you know, before they buy the insurance? Do they have you review their proposals for insurance? Because obviously a little bit of research ahead of time, you know, when you're buying a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 insurance policy for a year's coverage, that little bit of extra attention can possibly save them a lot of money down the road.
I've never had someone bring me an insurance policy to review before they had a problem.
Do you advise that?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Read the darn thing. You get it, and it might seem like
you
it's
need a law
in
degree to read it, right?
Of course. It seems like it's in a foreign language, but take the time to at least look at the sections of the policy so you know generally what's included, and you may see some sections that you say, uh-oh, I better read this in particular, especially the exclusions from coverage. Would you just assume that ordinarily every business policy includes theft or embezzlement? Embezzlement by employees. You might assume that. Does it really? This is why having a good insurance agent is critically important. Mike Saporn's one of our lawyers, Prime One Insurance in the Atlantic. Very conscientious guy, lifetime in the insurance business. And he's also a lawyer. He works with us on insurance claim issues. And so if you talk to him, he would probably talk your ear off about the coverage, or the people he has working there that are also expert at coverage. Talk to your vendor for whatever you're buying. You're going to buy a business policy, ask the insurance agent, I don't want insurance, I want insurance that's going to protect me for the types of things that could affect me. And a good insurance agent will do that.
We were in the restaurant business for many years. We had hundreds of employees, and as an employer, sometimes you might see an employee who might seem like they're looking for an opportunity to file a lawsuit against their employer. What should one do if an employee sort of complains that they maybe have been exposed to the COVID virus? The ways that what should a company immediately do to protect themselves?
Try and figure out what can go wrong. That's my strongest business advice. Businesses that fail think only what goes good in the business or what could go good in the business. They don't think what can go wrong. We have just created a package of probably 40 employer forms to carefully manage the HR function. That includes the screening process, that includes onboarding the employee, that includes what do you do if you're having difficulties with the employee, and what happens if you have to let somebody go. In each of these steps, you should act carefully. You should think through what you're doing. For instance, if you apply for a job with me, I want you to sign a release saying that I can talk to your former employers and that you won't sue them if they talk to me. There's a statute in Florida that gives employers protection generally, but if they sign something, you're going to get a better read on that person. So it's a package like that. Personnel manuals. For instance, you want a personnel manual or employee handbook that says if you feel like you are the victim of sexual harassment, you have to report it to a supervisor other than the supervisor, for instance, or other employee that's harassing you. You have to go up the chain. And if you have that in your employee handbook, you're going to be in a safer posture.
Have you specifically redesigned those employee packets vis-a-vis the COVID situation and added a lot of detail in for that?
Yes. It's hard because this is so broad spectrum. There's so much to do. But like I say, we use a set of boilerplate clauses in our contracts, and that change there was one of the key changes that I made to roll with this. Employee manual, generally speaking, a good employee manual is going to tell the employees, you've got to come to us, you've got to collaborate with us. Don't lay in wait and try and figure out how to sue us.
What about the temperature checks? Obviously that's sort of the vernacular that's being used now. Everyone's talking about taking temperature checks when they come for the AAU Junior Olympic Games in 2 weeks. As an employer, can I ask my employees to have their temperatures checked without any fear of any lawsuit or legal ramifications from the employees?
Generally, yes. Bear in mind, there's a salad of different federal laws that protect employees, including the Americans with Disabilities Act. So these laws can intersect. You have to be careful about getting health information from employees in a proper way and protecting it. Equal employment opportunity. You can't discriminate against somebody for a disability. So there's a huge interplay, and so you have to be tuned into all of these. We have a quick reference HR guide. This is our quick reference HR guide that we prepared for clients. It's 50 pages long. Yeah. That's the quick reference.
Amazing, yeah. Go to volklawoffices.com and check out their COVID preparedness plan. It's really something to see. Can I, as an employer, require that my employees get tested for COVID before they come to work?
Is there some basis for doing that? I want to caution everybody watching, this is so nuanced. We haven't had this kind of thing before. And so you're going to have to be really careful, and any program you set up should be vetted by someone that's expert in the law, because as I said, you're talking there about possibly violating the Americans with Disabilities Act and other things that could protect prospective employees. So you must be very careful in doing this. Could you do it as a blanket? Have some good legal advice to help you. There's an old saying, penny wise, pound foolish. I've had lawsuits where my client paid me hundreds of thousands of dollars over, I had one case that lasted 8 years, believe it or not. We finally won, but the other side did everything they could to delay and drag out. You could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars embroiled in litigation, or you could be careful in how you operate your business, including how you deal with your employees.
Let's say that we have a friend of ours who has a local business, very successful restaurant business, and they actually have been giving out loans to their employees during these difficult times. What are the consequences of providing loans to employees? Obviously, that it's a tricky, slippery slope, right? You want to help these folks get through the difficult times, but then you've got to deal with, the possibility of not getting paid back. What advice do you have to say about that?
It's scary. You know why it's scary? What happens if you make a loan to an employee and they're having trouble paying you back, and you say, well, I'm just not going to give you your paycheck until the debt's paid off? Have you violated the Fair Labor Standards Act, which mandates the payment of minimum wage and overtime?
Incredibly difficult time.
Just so you know, you don't want to hold hostage if you let somebody go and they owe you money, or they've taken your property like a business laptop or a cell phone that they won't get back. Can you hold that last check hostage? You better not do that. You've just handed somebody a lawsuit.
What advice do you have maybe for the medical industry at this time? Obviously, they've got their own challenges themselves of getting people into the workplace as far as employees go, and then getting patients in. Are there a lot of changes coming down on the legal aspect of the medical profession vis-a-vis COVID?
I don't see them as any different than any other employer, although their risks are heightened because you have more traffic with more people that are contaminated. I hate, that's a heck of a way of putting it, but that are afflicted by COVID. And so, again, everything we've talked about so far about doing everything you can to make it a safe workplace is smart. Now, reasonable, mind you. You don't have to put people in hazmat suits. You have to take reasonable steps to keep your employees and the public safe.
We're here with David Volk of the Volk Law Offices. You can go to his website, volklawoffices.com. You can reach out at 321-726-8338. And our business, we've enjoyed working with the Volk Law Offices. It helped us immensely in getting prepared properly as we move forward. So we wanted to bring that to you today at Space Coast Daily and give you some advice to get a good lawyer behind you. Make sure you're fully prepared as you bring work back to Brevard County. David, in closing, we started out this interview today with talking about what challenging times it is. What sort of advice or words do you have for Brevard? You're an experienced man. You've built your law firm up to be highly successful with all of your disciplined partners there. What advice do you have for Brevard as we sort of move through this incredibly challenging time?
Stay optimistic. We will survive this. Think about what can go wrong in the business. Don't just hang back, sit back and say, it'll be better next week, it'll be better a month from now. It may not be. You need to be planning what you're going to do for at least the rest of the year, assuming it doesn't improve, or assuming our numbers get worse from this point. How are you going to adapt for your worst case scenario? Don't just assume things are going to get better. So many businesses, Giles, have failed, been ruined, because they only looked at the good aspects of the business instead of managing the bad aspects. When I don't do Chapter 11 reorganizations anymore, but when I did them, you have to figure out what caused this dislocation. Is it something that can be remedied through a plan of reorganization? You've got to say, well, we haven't operated properly to now, but we hope it'll get better in the future. You won't get your reorganization plan confirmed. You have to show that you are making changes to your business to get better and become profitable. Mm-hmm. It's all about the Benjamins. How are you going to keep the money coming in? How are you going to protect all your stakeholders?
Mm-hmm. You've got an amazing team down there of associates in your law firm. Why don't you share some information about those folks and what different services that you provide at the Volk law offices?
These guys are rock stars. I think about these lawyers that are working for me, and I think, how in heaven's name did I get this level of talent at my firm? Mike DeHovney has been with me, I think, 17, 18 years. He's a real estate expert. He knows all those issues. And all of our lawyers, by the way, are litigators. We go to court. That's our primary focus, is lawsuits. So that gives us, I think, heightened expertise in helping people avoid litigation. Mike DeHovney, 17 years, real estate expert, can handle just about any real estate issue.
Very impressed with him, by the way. He's got a great demeanor. He's very patient. But he moves quickly, too, when he needs to.
He is meticulous. He is meticulous. I really like Mike. David Jones, 35-year legal career, including working most of his career for one of the largest law firms in America. And the hourly rate we charge for him at Volk Law Offices is half or less than half of what he was charging at that big law firm. Mm-hmm. So my parents were entrepreneurial, I've told you that, and I always try and lag our hourly rates a little bit below the market to try and help our clients. Barry Baker, he's our employer rights expert. Barry, by the way, was a Harrier pilot. We've talked about that before. You have any idea how smart and how quick reacting you have to be to fly a Harrier jet?
Yeah.
And this guy did that.
That's some talent, yeah. So he's a Harrier jump jet pilot and a lawyer.
Absolutely.
Unusual combination.
Amen. He's very technically proficient on the employer laws. He could put us both to sleep rattling off all the detail of these employee laws. Mm-hmm. It's a minefield. Mm-hmm. Brian Yarnell went to Harvard Law School, 23 years an attorney, went to Harvard Law School, taught nuclear physics in the Navy. Another brilliant guy. Our research and writing and drafting team has handled, I think it's 23 United States Supreme Court cases.
Wow.
That's the pinnacle. I had one Supreme Court case about lien stripping in bankruptcy, and I was in awe of the process. And these guys are good at it. So Michael Saporn, he's our insurance expert that we essentially joint venture on denial of insurance claims, primarily casualty. And it's just an impressive team. I love talking to them. Mm-hmm. One of my guys, I won't name him by name, said to me Monday, we were talking about a legal issue, and I was warning him about a nuance, and he goes, "You are a legal geek." He goes, "You really love this stuff." And I said, "Isn't it awesome?" And he goes, yeah.
Well, if you want a sharp attorney, the Volk Law Office is certainly one to consider here in Brevard County, a team of experts in all different fields. They're very reasonable to work with and certainly care about Brevard County and this community. David, thanks so much for joining us today. Closing words of encouragement. I know you're bullish on the situation, right, as we move forward through this challenging time.
Stay the course. A lot of us are going to be hurt in one way or another. Let's start thinking about where we're going to be after this storm passes. Let's do everything we can to make ourselves safe. If we have a business or work in a business, let's try and do our very best every day.
There it is. Stay strong, Brevard. We'll get through this together. And stay tuned. We've got some great programming coming up here at Space Coast Daily later today. Some more AAU Junior Olympics information and much more. Stay tuned to Space Coast Daily. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Space Coast Daily is Brevard's most trusted news. Through spacecoastdaily.com and Space Coast Daily's social media reach, hundreds of thousands of people stay informed every day. Through Space Coast Daily's unmatched digital reach with the Space Coast Daily's direct mail newspaper and Space Coast Daily, the magazine in print, our loyal and engaged viewers enjoy free local news they can trust every day, and all at no charge thanks to our successful advertising clients, and also at our special events at Space Coast Daily Park in Vieira, where hundreds of thousands of people see our clients' advertisements. Call today to get your message seen on Space Coast Daily and take your business to new heights. Get launched with Space Coast Daily. Call 321-323-4460 today.